If you have said to yourself, I should write that, or if someone has said to you, you should write that, then I'm talking to you because you need to write. And that's why you're tuned in to yWrite. Hi, welcome to yWrite. I'm your host, Angela Grout, and I'm in the studio today with another awesome author, and we are going to talk about romance novels. I have Liz Alden here, and she's from Western Massachusetts. She grew up in Houston, Texas, so, see what kind of stuff brings into her books. But I have to tell you, she is really a resident of the world. She has sailed around the world, like the whole world, and boy, has that given her a lot of experience to contribute to the books that she tells, because she writes steamy romance novels, and she has a mission to share adventure and travel with the world through easy, sexy reads with healthy relationships and sex-positive attitudes. We got a really cool show today. I'm so excited. We are going to talk to her because she has written 5 series, and she's the author of, swoony romantic comedies. And I'm so excited to talk to her today. So I want to welcome to the show Liz Alden.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. And, look at all these books. 19 books.
Yeah.
19 books. 5 series.
5 series, yep.
So I have so many questions. So, number one, when did you start writing?
I started writing as a COVID project.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So relatively, 5-6 years
recently.
Here?
Yeah.
6 years, 19 books. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So as you mentioned before, I lived on a sailboat, and I was on the boat during COVID.
Okay.
So we
really
were
excluded from the world.
Yes. As we like to say in the community, we'd been practicing isolation for a long time. So I was trapped in Antigua in the Caribbean.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I'd always, right?
I'm so sorry.
I'd always wanted to write a book, and I had tried before, and I was like, well, I don't know when I'm going to be able to leave, and I don't have as much to do as I normally do, so let me try writing a book again.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is your background? You're not a writer. You
right.
You weren't a literary agent or a teacher of English.
Right. I have a degree in mechanical engineering.
Okay, so that seems perfect for a romance novel.
Yeah. And then when I left that, I owned a small business, my family business, which was in boats.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I got into boating. And then sold that and went to sail around the world with my husband.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your first book, when you started writing it, did you know that you were going to write a series, or was it going to be a one and done book?
I knew I was going to write a series. As a business aspect of writing, you're often told that you need to have more books. You need to have a series, because once you get someone to read the first book, you'll get read through. Yeah. And so I knew to make it a business, this was not going to be a one-off book for me.
Did you outline it? Did you just start writing it?
I just started writing. I have learned over the past 5 or 6 years, however long I've been writing, that I have some strategies that don't always work super well, and I try to get better at planning and strategizing books or series, but with the first one, I just sat down and wrote, which is part of the reason why writing a first book ages ago didn't work out super well.
Yeah, well, writing a book in general is a labor of love.
Yes.
You have to be dedicated to sit down and write it. Obviously you're, in Antigua, and you had time to write and talk about the sceneries and create this beautiful, funny comedy romance.
Yeah.
How did you start? Are you naturally funny? Like, do people say, oh, you're so funny? Like, what brought the comedy into their romance?
That's a good question. My husband and I tell each other that we're funny. Like, we find ourselves hilarious all the time. So, but I don't know if he's a source that can be trusted. But I do think my books are funny. I think writing humor is a very big part of craft that a lot of people don't think about. And it's something that I have studied as I've been writing.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
So have you taken writing classes? Like, when you say study, are you just picking up books to read to get the wisdom, or are you taking classes?
I'm picking up books to read. I'm taking classes. I am watching YouTube videos on how, screenwriters write. sitcoms and the kind of different aspects of humor that you can use when you're writing. And I'm also consuming a lot myself. So not only am I reading a lot of romance books and rom-coms, but I'm also watching TV shows and wondering like, okay, why does this joke hit?
Yeah.
And how can I, is it a visual joke or is it something that I can integrate into my books?
Wow. Yeah. So each series, and let's talk about your series a little bit.
Yes.
What was the first series that you started?
This is the first series I started here. It's called the Love and Wanderlust series. And this first book right here, The Fling in Panama, that's the book that I wrote while I was in Antigua.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have them all pretty much the same, I'm going to say close word counts for all of them. Does that just work out like that, or is it something that you planned? Because I'm a big fan of like having the same amount of like pages for each book in a series.
Yeah, I do try to kind of, well, actually, I don't think I could write a super long book to save my life. I think my books just naturally, if I'm aiming for a novel, they tend to naturally be around 60 to 70,000 words. The book 3.5 is a novella in here. It's called The Rival in South Africa. And that's about 35,000 words. And then I have some short stories that typically are around 15,000 words.
Yeah. And so I'm going to jump ahead because I know on your website, you put some short stories out there, and some of your short stories are in some book formats. A little bit.
I have like 4 smaller stories that are not available in paperbacks. They're only in ebooks, and some of them are newsletter exclusives and stuff like that.
Yeah, so, I mean, because your website is, for authors, like, we have to have some sort of website, some sort of landing page to at least tell them who we are, what we're doing, and where they can buy their books. But, like, with yours, you have a newsletter in there, which is getting the attention of your audience, kind of keeping them engaged in what you're doing and where you're headed. And then you have these, like, short stories, which, is nice because you're like, oh, these are, like, a sit down and one just sit down, read this, and it's done. Which I'm the binge reader. Like I'll sit and have to read a whole book in a night. I need to finish it. So it's nice. Like when did you realize that you needed to have that kind of, or not needed it, but like to have that kind of web page, because it's a really great way to reach to your audience.
Yeah, I started my website like pretty shortly before releasing my book. And actually, The Fling in Panama is the first book in the series, the first book that I wrote. But then as a business strategy, I wrote a prequel novella, which is called The Night in Lover's Bay. And that one is actually set in Antigua, so from my experiences there. And I released that as a newsletter exclusive as a strategy for building my business as an author.
Now, and on your webpage, it's not like people don't have to subscribe. They can just go to your webpage and see this. So it's a free intro to some of your
Yes. The Night in Lover's Bay was a newsletter exclusive, but now it is actually available everywhere for free. So people can get right into the series and read about Seb and Marcella's spicy first chance.
And so in each series, the characters kind of flow through and have different adventures with new characters.
So it's what's called an interconnected standalone, which is really common in romance books. And that's where each book is a different couple, but the couples are often side characters in each other's books. So The Fling in Panama and The Slow Burn in Polynesia, the second book in the story, the 2 men are brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, obviously, I feel like, I think it's obvious, but like you're on this, sailboat writing with just your husband. So is he your editor? Is he your proofreader? Are you sharing these steamy stories with him?
He is a reader, and he is wonderfully supportive of my work. People often say like, well, are you writing yourself
are you writing
and your
life?
husband?
Yeah.
And no, but there is always inspiration for myself in my heroines, and there's always inspiration of my husband in my heroes. Like my heroes are healthy green flag guys, and that's often reflected in the way my husband treats me, is how it comes out on the page with my heroes.
How long have you been married?
16 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. So, 16 years, 19 books.
Yes.
Like, wait a second, you have way more babies. So now, you have, here we're showing, 3 of these series here. Well, a lot of them. What is, this one's a little bit shorter. These are more novellas.
Yes. So this series is the Love and Wanderlust series, which is a complete series. These 4 books down here are the Winter Wanderlust series, and they are mostly novellas or short novels. And I release one every October for the holiday season.
That's what I wanted to get. Because I thought it was interesting that, like, you have this deadline of, okay, every October we're going to have, a Winter Wonderland type story.
Yes. And that is the story I'm working on right now. One of the books I'm working on.
And how long does it take you to write one?
Honestly, it can vary depending on how positive I'm feeling about the story. It can vary anywhere from 30 days to write a book to 6 months or longer.
Now, you write every day?
I don't write every day. Okay. I write pretty consistently every Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
I actually have a friend that I meet at my local library who's also a romance author, and we write together.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. I do every Tuesday morning, no matter what.
Yep.
But, I try. Summertime's a little bit different because sometimes I have a friend we write on Wednesday nights. I call it writing and wine.
Oh, nice.
We go on Zoom, we have a glass of wine, and we do our little writing time. And, and it works out nice because when you do have that set time, it's almost like your muse shows up and you're like, okay, let's get this on the page.
Yes. Yes. There is a quote about how, like, if you just stand around waiting for your muse to show up, they'll never be there. Yep. But if you're there every day at 9:30, then odds are your muse is going to find you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and I, even when sometimes if my muse isn't there, I'll start with like a little prompt.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, it shows up.
Yeah. If you start writing, you get into the zone and, like, your characters are more likely to talk to you. And
and they talk to us.
They do.
Although I'm writing some murder mysteries, so mine have like a little bit darker tone. You got like really fun, hot and steamy, and it's like, ooh, all right, this is getting y'all excited for going on with your husband. I don't know. So let's talk about your book covers because they're just so beautiful. They're so colorful. They have a great feel to them.
Thank you.
Who designs the covers?
I've worked with a lot of cover designers. So this one is done, these covers, the Age Like Fine Wine series is done by Kate Mahone. She's a friend of mine. She's also an author. And then Elizabeth Turner Stokes did the Love and Wanderlust series. Martin Orr is doing my current series. And then Camber is doing the Winter Wanderlust series.
So do you tell them what you want on the cover and then they're drawing it, or are they reading the book and then they're coming up with something? How do you come up with like the actual picture that you're going to have and even the title?
Yeah, the title is something that comes up pretty early in the process, especially if I'm planning a series. Then I kind of know what the 4 books are going to be. Like the Age Like Fine Wine series, I knew from start to finish, Rosé with my fake fiance, all the way through to Cava with my colleague, were going to be the titles, 4 books. And
so you kind of went with the wine theme, obviously, with each book.
Yes, exactly. So for the cover designer, I have the title. I have usually comps is what I send them, which is comparable cover designs.
Okay.
So I look at what's happening in my genre and what covers I think are gorgeous and I want to emulate.
Okay.
And then they'll often send me sketches of the characters and kind of an overall plan for the cover, and then we proceed from there. So,
okay. I mean, because it's very fun to like come up with the covers and to create all of these things, but it's something that, when we're not an artist, we can't do that.
Yes.
So getting someone to actually draw the artwork or put it into, the computer programs, however, they do these things and they create their magic. When you're discussing doing like putting the book together, so now you have, your cover, your the picture and everything.
Yep.
Who's assembling all of that for you?
Me. I am a self-published author, so it means that I am doing a lot of the work myself. I have very professional, as you can tell, cover designers. I have professional editors that are people that I pay. They're, contract employees for me. And the rest of it is me.
Yeah, and that's what I want authors to hear. Because, people who want to write a book, so many come up to me, Angela, help me write a book, and I'm like, it's inside you. You have to give birth to this. This is my Dear Baby Get Out story. Like, you're pregnant with the story. You have to get it out. And then it's like, well, I got to get it, have someone put it together. It's like, no, you're the only one who can put it in that order.
Yes.
And it is, again, another labor of love, but a taxing labor. Trying to do all this, doing the formatting, doing the uploading, and then of course doing the marketing for it.
Yes. All of that is a lot of pressure on a self-published author's shoulders.
Yeah. What's your favorite part? Is it writing or marketing it?
I like I actually really like the editing process the best.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I do enjoy reading back through my story, especially when it's been through someone else's eyes. So I'm fortunate, we can say that a self-published author is responsible for every aspect. And, that is true in a lot of ways. But there are also many self-publishing communities. And I'm lucky to have some close friends that are authors that I look up to. So part of my process in editing, anyways, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty here.
Yeah.
Once I have once I have a first draft, I'll send it to a friend, an author who also writes in my genre, and they will read it and they'll give me feedback and
on the story.
Yes. Yeah. On
I always
the
think
big
that's
picture.
important to get the actual story out, because sometimes people will get hung up on the editing and the word and all that stuff. And it's like, just does the story make sense? Is it flowing? Do you like it?
Yeah. If you have to completely rearrange scenes to make your story better, then like making sure you have periods and punctuation in the correct place is not it's not
Don't
what
worry
you need to
about
worry
that
about
right
it right
now.
now. Yeah. So I go through a process. Like my current book that's in editing is on its 4th round of friends reading it. And sometimes the feedback is just like really brutally honest and you have lots of things you need to change and it's really daunting. But then you're rereading your story and you're reminding yourself of your favorite parts. And then you're also having some of your friends read and react. And the friends that are great at that stage are the ones that drop lines like, I laughed so loud at this, or like, this is so hot, or, you really hit the emotions perfectly here, things like that.
That's great.
And that's a very sweet part, because once you publish your book, you try not to read reviews too much.
Yeah. No.
And so you need that positive, healthy feedback earlier in the process.
Yeah, you definitely do, to keep it going and to make sure that it works. And that's an important part of the process that a lot of writers, will reach out and go, where do I find beta readers?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's called FRIENDS, right? I mean, friends and family, like you kind of, I compare writing a book sometimes, and I do, to pregnancy. It's like you kind of tell your close friends and family first, until you're actually showing or something. Yeah. And it's like, you want to get their support. And then once you have their support, of course, to hire an editor or hire someone who's going to format the book or, things like that. Do you do your books through KDP? How are you putting them online and how are you getting them published?
I am what's called a wide author, so I am not exclusive to KDP. My books are not in Kindle Unlimited.
WIDE? I haven't heard that term. What's that mean?
WIDE. It means that my books are. I have not signed an exclusivity contract with KDP. Okay. So if your books are in Kindle Unlimited, they cannot be as ebooks anywhere else.
Okay. Yes.
So my books are available on Barnes & Noble, on Kobo, on Google Play, on Apple, and on Amazon, and on my own store.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have to upload them to all of those different places, or does one hub take care of it?
I personally have upgraded my books directly to most of those retailers, but there are aggregators like Drafted Digital that one can use to upload one place and distribute to most of them.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's like when I do the podcast, if I upload it to, like the Spotify, it can go to, the other little hubs out there.
Exactly.
Big hubs out there.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of, knowing where to go to do it and to make sure that it, it comes out the way you want, especially when you're doing like an ebook, because it kind of reformats things for you sometimes.
Yeah. I use a program called Vellum to format, which spits out versions for all the retailers.
Okay.
And so they're specifically formatted for Kobo, etc. And then there's also a resource called Wide for the Win. They have a Facebook group and they have a website, and it is about the publishing and marketing outside of Amazon's exclusivity.
Nice. When you're doing, is it Vellum you said?
Yes, Vellum.
Do you have to pay for that? Is that a paid service?
It is a one-time software fee.
Okay.
But it is like the best software to use. I tried using a different one for a really long time. Or not a really long time. It just felt like a long time. I used a different software for my first book, and then they did an update when my second book came out, and it was time to format, and I could not figure out how to get it back, and I cried. It was so bad. Vellum is super easy. Okay. So, like, I don't get, an affiliates or anything. I just think it's a really great software.
Are you I'm going to think that you're handwriting. Maybe you're not handwriting.
I am not handwriting.
You're not. You're typing.
No, I'm typing.
So you're typing right into like Word or a Google
Scrivener.
Doc. Oh, you're doing Scrivener.
Scrivener.
Oh, I like Scrivener. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scrivener is nice. I had trouble with Scrivener in the beginning, trying to figure out how to like upload it into like to print because it was like individual.
That's why you use Vellum.
Okay. Oh, good. You take the Scrivener and then what, you upload it into that?
Yeah. So for my process, I write the book in Scrivener, and I love that you can have like your research tabs, and you can reorder things really easily.
I like that because you can do your chapters, and even if you want to write out of order, you can.
Yes.
So you can say, oh, I'm going to go to this chapter today.
Yeah, and if you use a note card strategy, you can like create the note card for each chapter synopsis, and it's great. So once I get to the editing phase, like where I'm sending it to my friends to read, then I export it to Word.
Okay.
And I also think that's good because like Word and Google Docs, they also have different like spell checkers, and they will catch different things. So usually it's up in Google Docs for my friends to read it and drop comments, and I'm doing the like final edits there, and then I send it to my professional editors.
So if you're writing in Scrivener, then you're sending it to Word or Google. You're editing it in Google, and then you don't send it back to Scrivener. Now you're sending it to Vellum.
Once I'm done with all of the edits and I have a final product, usually in Google Docs, then I'm downloading it as a .doc and uploading it into Vellum, and Vellum does like the convert thing. So
now, can you tell Vellum like if you want your chapters to start on like even pages and things like that? Good.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this. I definitely have to check that out because I'm a little OCD with that. Like I just like my chapters to be that way. But I mean, I read books that people start them in the middle of the page. Whatever.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm glad we're on the same page. Because I'm like, oh, man. And then I see it, like, because sometimes even, I think it was John Grisham, like, he will start sometimes, like, a chapter and then, boom, like, right at the one paragraph will be the next chapter.
Interesting.
But I think it's for condensing the pages in the book.
Yeah.
That's what I think sometimes it's for, because it's like, you have to insert that, like, blank page and, now you're adding more pages to the book. But, I like
I do have my complete series, the Love and Wanderlust series, available in Omnibus, which is for one of the printers. The limit is 1,100 pages, and so this whole series I had to like finagle. I did do that fidgeting.
So you made all this into like
it's one hardcover.
Oh wow! Oh, very cool.
So I had to work to cut it down to 1,100 pages, which is a lot.
So that's where you have to get creative.
That's where you get creative.
Chapters where they start. Yeah, I mean, I can see where why people do that. I just like it to look a certain way, but whatever.
Yeah.
So now your followers, your audience,
my readers,
your readers.
Yes.
How do they how do they follow you? Like, do you do a social media thing? I know you do your newsletter. Do you send that to their email?
Yes.
Like, how do you do this?
I write a newsletter almost every week with like updates for how my books are going, and like right now I have 2 books that are going to publish this year: Kava with My Colleague in August and The Gift of the Matchmaker in October. So I'm talking about those books. And
on your Facebook page you do have like coming in August, showing. Now you're working on them, but you already have the covers done for them.
Yes. Kava with My Colleague is actually my longest pre-order I've ever done. That's because I had wanted to publish the book, I think maybe 2 years ago, but it just wasn't vibing with me, and it's been a struggle.
So you started it 2 years ago.
I started it 2 years ago, and I finished it early this year. So I had the cover because I knew I was going to do this whole series, and I wanted to get everything firmed up with my designer. So it's been percolating for a long time.
So you're spending money doing the editing. You're spending money on
covers.
Yep. You're spending money on printing the books so that you have them, to sell and things like that. Have you made your money back yet? Because all authors like, how much money do we invest before we see a return?
Yeah, that is very hard, and I will break it down a little bit. For my Love and Wanderlust series here, my first series, I spent a ton of money on editing, and it's my first book.
Your first book, we don't know.
I was learning the craft. I used a developmental editor who was expensive but fantastic, and gave me 3 rounds of edits that really, really improved my book. Now I don't use as expensive cover designers or editors as I did before. I think that it's still a really good quality, and I still have, like, my friends are reading the books and editing as they go, and several rounds of all of that. So yeah, I've worked to cut back on the costs, and I've also worked to get better at writing a book that hooks people more.
Yeah.
My Winter Wanderlust series and my Age Like Fine Wine series, they are profitable series.
Okay.
The Love and Wanderlust series is never going to make its money back, probably.
Wow.
So it's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But it is work in progress.
It is. I mean, writers, we write and then we want to market the books and then we have to invest in it because, whether you're printing posters or, whatever for your book signings, buying the books to bring them in. And even if you sell them all at your book signing, you're then taking that profit and reinvesting it to buy more books. So it's like that constant turnover.
Yep.
And, it's, so many people want to like write that next American bestseller and, be rich and famous. And it's like, it's more about telling the story and getting it out there. Yeah. So one more time, I want to ask about the how do you get into this steamy romance? What was your calling to write that?
Well, I love romance books, and that's why I wanted to write them. I have been reading them for decades, and I just love them so much. I think that it's not necessarily about the steam or the spice level so much. It is genre romance, which by that I mean the falling in love is central to the plot, and it has to have a happily ever after. And these are the two qualifications by romance writers of America. It has to have those two things. So it can't be a tragedy, and it can't be like a coming of age story where that's more central to the plot, right? So to me, it's a lot about the character. Not only do you have like the two characters who have to fall in love, but they have to grow
together.
Yeah. So there's always a way for the characters to make each other better and to improve each other's lives. And as I said before, I write really wholesome green flag guys. Like these are all great guys. And they're the kind of guys that you hope that you can end up with.
Well, these are all great, I'm going to say, because it's summertime coming out.
Yes.
You might be watching this anytime, but, it's great beach reads, just like that sexy, steamy, make you feel good.
Yeah. They are easy reading. Like they're not designed to be literarily complicated books. They're designed to be easy, happy reads that everybody can enjoy. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Where can they get your books? Tell the audience where they can find out information about you and where they can start reading these series.
Well, my website's always a good place to start, lizalden.com. And I've got a shop through Shopify if any authors are interested in having their direct store. And you can get my book right now, The Fling in Panama, for free, the ebook. And that's available on my direct store and then at all the wide retailers.
Nice.
Wherever you read books.
Wherever you read books. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm in awe of, 19 books in less than 5 years that you've written, and the fact that you set a goal to, release certain books at certain times of the year, which, having those deadlines are huge. So
yeah, and some self-published authors really need them, like myself. I really have to make my own deadlines and commit to them. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. I will put all the links, below. So, thank you again.
Yeah.
Well, that was Liz Alden. And boy, just writing a book, it is a labor of love. But boy, when you can write something that's fun and exciting and just, really gets your juices going. I mean, that's like a bonus. And, we were talking a little bit today about getting, beta readers and having your friends, to, help guide you and support you. And that's really important. And this is the time in the program where I start to give you a little writing prompt. And if you're a writer, what I want you to do is I want you to make a list of the people that you may reach out to as your beta readers, because this is important. Whether it's, your mother, your brother, your sister, your friends, start making a list of who you may be able to reach out to say, hey, would you read a sample of this? Or, give me a little bit of feedback, because as an author, that is one of the first important steps to make sure that your story is going where it needs to go and you have an audience for it. So that's a little simple, make a list of a prompt today. And I want to say again, thank you for tuning into yWrite, and I hope you're going to binge watch some more shows today, and you're going to go to lizalden.com and check out all of her books and, have some really fast, fun, easy reads. All right, thank you for tuning into yWrite, and I want to thank Studio 954 for putting this show on every week, and I will see you next time.